So, hi everyone. My name is Michelle Bauer, and I'm the owner of OceanaLuxe Med Spa in Corpus Christi, Texas. And I'm here today with Cleve and Tina Scholl from Wichita, Kansas, from Aesthetic Solutions, a med spa. And I am so excited to talk with you today about this weight loss drug that we have been corresponding with. And I really am excited to ask you about your experience. I know that you have a very broad experience. You've been doing it for quite a while. And I think this is really great information for our public. And so, without any further ado, maybe you could just start by telling us how you found out about this particular medication and what you decided to do in including it.
So we got introduced to it about a year and a half ago. We had a friend who wanted to get on it and couldn't get it locally. And so she started ordering it through Canada. After watching her and her success on it for about 4 months, we started looking into providing it locally and actually launched it in our practice April of 2022.
So, you're coming up on a year, right? Am I doing the math right there?
You are
Yeah.
correct.
Okay, wow. So tell us, what was her experience? Obviously, she must have had a very good experience for you to want to look into it.
She did. She lost about 40 pounds in 4 to 5 months and is down around the 50-pound point now, which is where her maintenance is. She was doing great with it, had no problems with the medication. Concern was always getting it out of the country and if it would stay cold with shipping and if it would actually make it here traveling across the borders. She always had concerns about it and having to order it weeks in advance. And she really wanted somebody to provide it at a local service for her.
It makes a lot of sense. So tell me, how did you make this decision to add it to your clinic?
In talking to multiple other clinics that were doing it, we really all bonded together and followed the protocols that were published in the original studies and watched how they were doing. We sat back and watched it for several months to see how it was going with all of these other practices before we were willing to launch it for us. And even the day before we officially launched it, Cleve and I both went on the medication. If we're going to do this journey with these people, we're going to do it with them literally. And so we did. We started it the day before and launched it the following day.
Wow. And so, well, tell me, what about your experience? Tell me how that's been for you.
Yeah, so I was one of the first guinea pigs, so which is rare here because I'm usually not the one volunteering, but I was eager. I had seen how successful our friend was, and for me personally, it's been a great journey. I've lost over 50 pounds and maintained that since last April. So very excited about that. Am I where I want to be? I think I've still got a little work to do, but I guess if I'm being really honest, and this is just between you and me, nobody else is going to hear this, right? I hate to exercise. I did that all without exercising. And if I did it the proper way, honestly, and what we coach our clients to do, which is the smart thing to do, exercising properly, I would definitely get better results, even better results than I did. I don't know what that says if people are getting excited about the fact that I didn't exercise and I lost 50 pounds, but for me, I loved it. So I'm very grateful for it. And yes, I do share that quite often with people. So,
Has that changed any of your health in any other way?
okay, she's laughing at me. Probably yes, but I don't know because I just haven't gone to get a physical like I'm supposed to every year, right? I'm way past due. So that's why she started laughing because we literally just talked about this a few days ago. So yeah, yeah, that's something I should do. I suspect my
I would say your
A1C
cholesterol's
and my
probably
cholesterol's
better.
better. Yeah. So
Your sleep apnea is better.
yeah, so that is true. I do notice that I don't require my sleep apnea machine. I still use it because it's kind of I'm kind of used to it. I've used it for so many years, but there have been nights away from home that I've had it or not had it, I mean, and I wasn't rattling the walls with the snoring. So no one said, "Hey, you did really well last night." Sorry about that. So yeah, it's been a huge success for us, and I'm very happy that she finally, not finally, but she brought it in.
And Tina, what about you?
So I took it from the provider standpoint. If I do nothing but take my shot every week, what's the worst case scenario? What's the worst thing that's going to happen? And I am about 55 pounds down. I can tell you we have worked out 3 times. once in January, once in February, and once in March.
That's true. Yeah.
That is the only exercise outside of our normal routine that we have done.
Yeah.
And so, I tell people every day, the medicine will do some of the job, but you ultimately have to put in the sweat also. It can't do everything. It is a miracle drug, but it isn't that much of a miracle drug.
Well, tell us a little bit about the medication. What does it do?
So the way semaglutide works is it tells the brain that you're not hungry. It slows the gastric emptying time out of the stomach so that when you eat, you stay full longer. And it opens up your insulin receptors to allow your body to utilize the natural insulin more efficiently. So it allows the body to burn fat instead of muscle. It takes the strain off of the pancreas to produce more insulin, which is why it works for type 2 diabetics, because they still produce, their body just can't utilize.
So you have this feeling more of fullness, and therefore you don't find yourself as snack driven, or what would you say?
I'm not a snack driven person, so I don't know that I'm the best to answer that.
Yeah, so I'm the snacking person. It worked well for me because I think that's the piece that helps the cravings, because my body doesn't process the insulin properly. Am I saying this right? Mm-hmm. I'm not the doctor, so forgive me, but this helps you do that. It helps your body work properly. In doing so, it has helped with the cravings. Now, granted, they don't go away, but it is very minimal. And the fullness does last quite a long time. So I personally, when I would eat, if I overate, if you're on this and you do overeat, you're going to know really quick. It's not going to be like I just sat down and ate a 12-course meal, Thanksgiving meal or something, but you probably got 2 courses in and you're like, I'm done. Okay. So if you do overeat, though, you're definitely going to feel it and you're going to wish you hadn't. I'll just put it that way.
Most common side effects have to do with nausea, vomiting, diarrhea if you overeat. Constipation is the other major one because of slowing the motility. Everything stays in the system longer. I always tell people, as far as overeating, if your body says you're full, you're really full. 3 more bites and it will either all come back up, or you will feel like you have a concrete block sitting in your stomach for the next 12 hours. Either way, whatever happens, you're only going to do that once or twice before you learn your lesson.
It sounds like what you're saying is that it changes your relationship with food in a way. It teaches you to maybe watch and listen more to your body. Am I getting that right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Wow. And are there any contraindications that you know of that people could easily identify as someone who wouldn't be a candidate?
Anybody with a history of medullary thyroid cancer, it has found to have an increased risk of it in laboratory rats. Anybody with a history of pancreatitis has to be used in caution. They can still take it, but they just have to be monitored a little more closely.
It's a very broadly, able to be used very broadly.
Definitely.
So if there was a person that was interested in finding out more about the medication, about whether or not it was a fit for them, what would you say to that individual?
It never hurts to come in for a consult and to sit down and talk about your options. I would encourage anybody, whether they needed to lose 20 pounds or 120 pounds, you've got to start somewhere. And coming in, sitting down and talking is the best place to start.
So is it something that one can expect that it just, falls off in large quantities, or is it a slow? What is the expectation with the weight coming off?
The weight always goes on faster than it comes off. And we don't want to overwhelm the body and cause more problems. So we target about 6 to 8 pounds a month. That's a nice, healthy weight loss that is sustainable. The studies on other weight loss medications that have come out, when people lose 15, 20 pounds a month, they can do that for 1 or 2 months. And then they tend to start rebounding and having weight gain of all of what they have lost, usually plus 5% more. So slow, sustainable with lifestyle changes is the healthiest and best way to go.
Okay, that's great. That's really wonderful ideas to keep in the forefront of your mind when you're thinking about whether or not, am I doing it right? Am I on track? Am I not? Shouldn't I be seeing more weight off? Or, all of those questions run through our minds, right? And so it's good to hear that. And then how is the medication given?
So it is an injection. and it is a tapered dose. Going up in dose does not make you lose weight faster. It is, you start off on a low dose starting dose to give the body time to adjust. Some people lose great on that dose, other people do not. But you have to go through the steps to find the dose that your body responds to. So each month you come in, we weigh, we talk about any side effects, and we adjust doses as needed.
And then do you instruct your clients to eat less than they normally eat, or is it just something that automatically happens for them?
I still tell people I want them in that 1,000 calorie a day range. They still need to be eating. If they're not eating, they're definitely not going to lose weight. They've got to eat. They've got to feed the body. I always tell people, eat your protein first because that's what's going to preserve muscle. Eat your fiber second because of the side effects with the constipation. And save the carbs for last if you have room.
Oh, great advice. I love that advice. That is wonderful advice. Okay, so still eating broadly, right? Still eating a broad variety of foods every day, not just concentrating on one food group. Okay, great. And we talked about side effects being the nausea and vomiting. Is the shot painful to take?
I'll let Cleve answer that because he doesn't like pain.
So no, it's not painful at all. I get a little anxious even because I administer it myself. So it's like an insulin shot. It's an insulin needle size. It's very tiny and it's given in the abdomen, in the stomach area. And it's real simple. I stare at it like it's going to hurt, but I do it. It never hurts ever. So
I always tell people if he can do it, even a 4-year-old can do it.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So many of us hate needles, right? And so the idea of having to inject ourselves is kind of a huge obstacle to consider, if you're thinking about this particular medication or therapy. Okay, and would you do it in conjunction with any other lifestyle changes at all? Is there anything else that I need to consider if I'm on it that I shouldn't do or that I could do with it?
I always tell people not to think of this as a diet, think of it as a lifestyle change. If you're trying to get healthy, then we need to be incorporating our entire lifestyle. So heart healthy diet, minimizing our alcohol, our sugars. Now, did I do that? Not necessarily, but I still recommend it. And it's what I should be doing. And I do to some degree. Exercise, we have to put in our fair share of the work. The medicine won't do it all for us. But really, I wanted it to be a lifestyle that's sustainable over time and not a diet that in 4 months I'm going to feel punished and therefore resort back to all of my old habits.
Could I just ask, what is your experience with this drug in your clinic? How many of your patients have you treated with this, would you say? Just a global figure.
So I was looking earlier, and we're about 150 people a month that are on it currently.
Wow, 150 people a month over a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a large sample size. So I love this because you really have a broad experience to be able to speak from. So this is very, very hopeful. I personally think that this is a medication that has so much hope to change obesity in America. And I just wondered what your thoughts might be on the future of this medication. Is this something that's covered by insurance? Is it not?
So currently weight loss is not covered by most insurance companies. Will it ever be? Your guess is as good as mine. It would be nice for people if it was, but I always tell them every day, if you think about your insurance, it's similar to your car insurance. They aren't there to keep you healthy. Just like our car insurance doesn't cover routine maintenance like oil changes and tire rotations. That's routine stuff that we have to do to take care of ourselves or to take care of our car. And so maintaining our weight is on us, not on our insurance companies, unfortunately.
Really great illustration. Okay, wonderful. Well, I really appreciate your time. I think I'm done with my questions unless you have anything else that you would say to your public in your area. If people have an interest, what should they do?
If there's something that you're interested in, I just recommend you come in and sit down and talk to us about it. That's the best way to get the most accurate information rather than hearing it from third hand, fourth hand, or Dr. Google, best place is to come in and sit down and talk.
Call us, yes. Consultations are complimentary. So it's not even going to cost you anything. Just come in and have a sit down and discuss your concerns and see what the possibilities are. Pretty simple.
Great advice. Well, Tina and Cleve, thank you so much for speaking with me about your experience about the medication semaglutide. And I want to really thank you for your time. For those that are in the Corpus Christi area, we would invite you to do the same. Come and talk to us and find out whether or not this would serve you in any meaningful way in your lives. Thanks again.